Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Klonoa Door to Phantomile. We are now taking on Vision 3-1, Rebirth of the Forest. So, as you can see, our environment has changed once again. We are now in the Furlock Forest. If you remember, we were still sent on that mission to go find Furlock Granny, and we have still not found her yet, even though Grandpa, in the end of the very first episode, told us to do so. So one thing about this vision is you're going to see a lot of these little swingy type things that are going to essentially allow you to progress throughout the forest. Are you okay? I can't believe this. You, not bad ones. I'm Klonoa from the One Village. Here, you're free. Saved. Many thanks. You're welcome. Yippee! Yikes! I like that. Me, guard of Gondola. Now, Gondola work. Wow, thanks a lot. Ah, that annoying Bradagon. That leaves me no choice. Okay, guys, make sure to hide the key to the door well. Don't just stand there. I love that. Ahead, long trip. Watch out. Yes, thanks. All right. So we have spoken to. He is one of the guards of Furlock Forest, of course. They are actually the main prisoner of this vision. But for now, we're going to go ahead and see if we can progress on through the forest now that he has basically allowed us to do so. So without talking to that guard, you cannot open up the next section of the level because you remember on the very right of this path is that little swing thing that's now activated since we talked to that guard. So very important that you do certain key things like that that will allow you to advance throughout the level. So we're going to go ahead and move forward here and see we have another swing here. That's actually going to move on its own without anything needed to activate it or trigger it. And it's going to send us out to that little circular platform type thing out there. We have a bunch of stuff above it. Looks like we need to grab. So what we want to do is grab this flying moo. And yeah, these are the, I think the first instance of the armored moos. But they are actually my favorite looking moos inside of the armor. I love the blue moos. They look so cool. Blue is actually my favorite color as well. But you cannot grab a hold of the armored moos until you use another enemy to break their armor. So as you can see, that blue moo, we did break his armor up, so that actually allowed us to grab a hold of him and use him just like any other moo. If we break that egg open right there, we'll get a key. And like I said, we're going to be needing more of these to progress throughout these levels. So kind of a cool idea how they make you find these keys in order to open these locked doors to progress. I think it makes it a little bit more interesting. They had a little more puzzle to the game where you're not just kind of going from point A to point B like we were in Vision, like 1-1, for example, and collecting all the prisoners. We actually have a little bit of extra work to do, even just to advance throughout this forest. So as you can see, one of those same looking species of the guard we just rescued from that bubble there. So they're going to be the prisoners, like I said. Go ahead and use our key to open this door and we will move right along here. So we have a nice little small area here. Simply what we want to do is jump onto this swing and that's going to swing us very nice. Again, I very much love the idea of having this 3D environment in a game where your character is 2D and a lot of the sprites in the game, like the enemies as well, are 2D, but you're still able to work in a 3D environment, and it kind of comes to your advantage at some points because you can see certain things coming up in levels that you like right now, for example, like we can see a lot of the level already and we haven't even walked over to that specific part yet, but we'll find another prisoner down here. We'll go ahead and grab him to make number 3, so that basically gives us half the prisoners. Well, it is half, I don't know what I'm saying. But we now have these springing moves, so these guys are, you essentially just want to wait until they spring up high enough to where you can just kind of run underneath of them. You can't really jump over them. They're pretty tall compared to the typical moo, and they have shields as well, so they're pretty defensive and pretty hard to avoid unless you go underneath them. And that's kind of something I think that I didn't quite understand when I first played this game, but it's something as simple as just kind of using your speed to get around, get under them, versus trying to, I just went under 2 at once there. That's kind of cool. You just kind of have to find, you know, creative ways around some of these, you know, harder to avoid enemies, I would say. As you can see, we're scaling this giant tree. I just love this aesthetic right here. Like, I don't know what it is about like a 3D, like a forest and like a platformer like this one, but I love, you know, platforming around forest areas, water areas. The only ones I'm not too fond of are like the industrial levels in game. We want to actually now open up this door with the key that we grabbed up there. Over there, and we can now hit this memory clock, and it looks like we have another swing ride here, and that's going to send us over to this next section here. Oh, these guys, I hate these guys so much. So what we want to do is actually grab these guys. We can advance, but there's actually, if you notice, a flower that is kind of moving there, kind of very glitchy type, but we want to actually use these guys to break open that flower, because there's going to be something we're going to find in these flowers as well. I believe this is the only vision. Crap, of course I would die here to these guys. I believe this is the only vision that has these flowers. So you see I broke it open. There's now an egg in it, so unfortunately I have to get a hold of these guys again if I don't die enough times. Alright, grabbed him, got him. See, as you can see, they hit a prisoner in there. That's a very easily missable one. And this is where we're going to start to see some very cleverly hidden prisoners in some of these later levels. I mean, we're just essentially almost halfway through the game once we finish Vision 3-2. So we're going to see a lot more challenge when it comes to just finding like some of the collectibles in the game. Here we have a gigantic armored Moo. We cannot really get around him. He will hurt us if we try to jump on him, as he's just too freaking big to jump over. So what we need to do is get a hold of somehow. I guess I'm just gonna do it that way. But what we're supposed to do is get on top of that, like this. That's, you know, right here, this tall part of the end of the bridge, and then you want to grab one of those flying moves, and then use that to break the giant Moo's armor, and then you can just jump on him without really taking damage. Because for whatever reason, when he's got armor on, and you jump on him, you'll take damage. When he doesn't have it on, even though he's still gigantic. You know, you won't take damage if you jump on an unarmored, you know, Moo, so giant Moo. But now we're gonna go down here, grab some extra gems. As you can see, we have another one of those flowers that we want to go ahead and open up, and that's going to give us access to yet again another egg, and that's going to give us an extra life there. So very nice, an extra life there. So very nice. Break open that Moo's armor, and we'll go ahead and use him to break open that flower, revealing yet again another egg. I wonder what's in there. Gotta get my moves to respawn. I think sometimes, I don't know if it's the PS1 version, because I don't really think I had this problem in the Wii version when I played it, is sometimes the moves and some of the enemies, their respawns, like there's some that are set to respawn automatically in the same fixed area of the game, are sometimes glitchy where they don't respawn right away, or like they essentially make you walk to a certain point and then they will respawn. Like, I think that's kind of broken in my opinion, but it's a very small gripe to an otherwise excellent game. So I can't really go on too long about it. I just kind of, it's just something I've noticed since playing this game recently. But we're gonna continue onwards, and as you can see, we have more of these breakable. Well, these are the boxes that we broke. We broke these tall like towers. We broke these tall stone things, I think, in like Vision 2-1. But now we have breakable boxes. So obviously anything with like an X and a circle on it, you can break by just launching an enemy at it. So keep that in mind, because sometimes there will be hidden surprises and valuables in some of these breakable items. We went ahead and grabbed that key under this very cool looking like tree styled gazebo there. Kind of cool. I like that. Enemies are just kind of chilling under it, but you know, we kind of took it over for the time being to grab our key. But that's going to give us access to the left of this giant tree right here, where there's another locked door. Very nice. I love how they have a giant key symbol, not only on the door that's locked, but the actual sign next to the door, just to make sure you get the idea of what you're looking for there. So, but we're going to go ahead and get through this maze of death. This is probably one of my least favorite parts of the games, because it's very hard to control your movements and your timings coming up here later towards the end of this track. These first few, parts right here obviously are pretty easy to avoid. We just want to get through these spikers, and hopefully we'll be okay. These are the more intimidating enemies, because you cannot destroy these enemies at all whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. So you just want to kind of jump through these little spots where there's none of them, and that's kind of the idea. But unfortunately, the freaking ride gets fast and crazy and unsafe, and they probably should have, whoever invented this ride should be shut down for business, but that's just a death hazard waiting to happen. But we got through it, and we had one hit left, but we still got through it, so that's all that counts. So we're going to collect all these gems here. Kind of nice that they throw these at you all at once. Again, gems are very easy to find in the game. There's just some later on. I think some of the last levels will have pretty difficult gems to get to, so you'll kind of see what I'm talking about once we get there, but that's not going to happen for quite a bit. We're going to move right along here. We're going to use our excellent platforming skills by using enemies to get up to higher ledges. You gotta love it. I love this game. But anyways, now we have another giant armored moo, and we have more of these horrible insect things, and I cannot remember what these things are called, but they are freaking annoying to grab, like you saw right there, even though I probably should have set it back a little bit more. All right, grab a hold of him. We broke the armor. We broke the moo. Nothing left to do but to hit that switch. So we're gonna grab one of them and miss the damn thing. No, we'll try it again. If he doesn't throw his spike poop at me. His spike. All right, grab a hold of him. Launch him at the switch. That's going to trigger this swing, and that's going to send us in another direction where we need to go in order to finish this level. We are getting to the end of it, believe it or not. Yeah, that's another thing. These levels get very long. The visions do pretty much starting from here on out. I remember specifically Vision 5, and I'm not going to spoil too much about it yet, but it is very long. One of the longer ones, especially the Vision 6. 6.1 and 6.2 are very long. Probably the longest of the game, the last two, but you get the idea. It gets longer as it kind of goes on. There are some that are straightforward, but they just take so much time to get through. We'll find another prisoner there, another cleverly hidden one in an egg inside a flower. Yeah, I mean, like, they go out of their way to make sure that these prisoners are hidden pretty uniquely. And again, I really like that challenge to a platformer like this, where not every collectible in a game like this is going to be just handed out to you like candy, like on Trick or Treat Night. Like, this is going to be, you have to do a little bit of work, you know, on your end to kind of locate all these, especially if you're going for 100%. It's a dead end, Klonoa. Oops. Huh? You? Yippee! Don't worry. That only 4-lot greeting. Oh, I see. Yippee! We want to go to Granny's place. What? We're after Granny too? No, not us. Good. Whew. Granny's house, taken over. Kicked out we were. Taken over? We were too late. No, maybe not yet. Are you going? Dangerous it is. Yahoo! Get on it. Whoa. Hey, Granny. Hold on. Hold on. Yippee! Wow! Good luck. Alright, so we have added more to our very beautiful song right here in between visions. So very cool indeed, since we have saved every single prisoner there is to save up until this point. Go ahead and save our progress. And we're going to move right along to Vision 3-2. And it is the stopped gear. Oh, where are we? Alright, so as you can see, We still have a little bit of a foresty type of vibe going on here, except we have one gigantic tree that we're going to be essentially focused on in the center of the map here. These guys are called boomies, so these are essentially the bombs of the game, except you are able to pick them up and launch them at various triggers. They will explode, of course, once you pick them up, but they will actually just explode no matter what, so you have to be able to time your throws with them once you have a hold of them, obviously. So keep that in mind. We're going to go in the center area here. As you can see, we have a lot to explore here. We have an egg just out there in the distance. We have nothing to throw at it yet, unfortunately, so we can't do anything with that. There is a prisoner up there in a bubble. We have nothing to do to be able, or nothing that we have in order to get up there, so we can't really do anything in this room yet, unfortunately, other than grab that key that was sitting on that giant piece of wood. We're going to go ahead and head over to the left side now, and it looks like we have something kind of cool. We have a swing here, but it's being propelled by a giant mallet, wooden mallet there. So this is the beginning of the level. We have more of these boomies, so we just want to go back onto this ride. Very fun ride. I feel like I'm in a carnival or something in a forest. But now we have a trail of gems here, and this is essentially going to point us in the right direction. So we want to pay attention to where those gems are at on that little central area, because it's very easy to get lost around there because there's so many doorways on the left and on the right, and you have no idea. All the paths look very similar. It can just be kind of tricky to realize where you are on in the level. So but now we're going to see if we can get up here. We have a Moo that's kind of bouncing about, doing its own little thing. He's just kind of living his life today. We're going to stop him in his tracks, get up here, and then we have a prisoner up here as well. So we want to make sure we grab that. Very nice indeed. We have these swinging guys here, and we essentially just want to make sure we grab them when they swing down towards us. We don't want to let them swing into us. That can knock us off of the platforms. We want to make sure we time the grabbing of those swinging moves at the right time. So. Get up here, grab a hold of this fellow, hit that switch. That's going to open up this right here for us. We can go down here now, grab all these gems, and we have another doorway that we can access as well. Punch that memory clock, and we have some more jewels. Actually utilize him, wait for him to blow up. Yeah, these guys take, the only problem with these guys is they take so freaking long to explode. Like it just is a little too slow, I think, but it's it works out in the end. You have to pretty much just grab it very fast, or you're going to be sitting there for a good minute or so, just wait for them to blow up until you can grab him again. Because of course you don't want to pick him up like right when he's getting ready to explode, because then he'll explode right in your face, and then you're going to have boomy parts in your face, and I don't want to think about that. But anyways, we're going to go in this doorway. We can actually get something in that egg with that boomy. Let me go back out there and grab them. We'll just go in this way, actually. Door shut, check. Door locked, check. Oh, here already? You're much too late, though. So long. That Joka's up to no good once again, but we have more boomies that have fallen out of the sky, unbelievably. But first, we actually just want to go back into this way. I didn't actually mean to go out there and trigger that cutscene quite yet. I wanted to at least grab what's in this egg. Let's do just that. And there's a prisoner. Very nice. And I feel like I'm missing something out here first. I think we weren't supposed to see that cutscene yet. Maybe it's just in my head. I don't know. So apparently it was all in my head. I was going the right way the whole time. I just wanted to definitely make sure I grabbed that prisoner in that little hallway first before moving forward, because I probably would have forgot to do so. Even though we pretty much have to backtrack after we advance in this area. We'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Notice a giant gear. There's a prisoner out there, by the way, behind that tree. Notice that giant gear in the middle of this building here. That's something that's actually going to become important coming up very soon here. So we want to make sure, and if you remember that one area with that giant mallet looking thing, we could not really access anything over there. So remember, we're going to go back over there here in a minute, because we have obviously a prisoner over there we have to get, and this is not where this does not take us to that location, so just keep that in mind as well. This is where the backtracking begins in the game officially. But yeah, this level isn't really, there's not like a ton of backtracking, but it's probably the most backtracking you're going to do in the game, I would say, for the most part. I could be wrong on that though. This door right here has the same symbol that the prisoners have in their bubbles. So you want to make sure you pay close attention to that. However, there's really nothing to know about that other than you just can't go in that door without accessing a certain switch, which is conveniently right here. How do you do this? So if you go and hit that switch just normally with Klonoa's ring, it is going to access, it is going to open that door for you right across there. However, the door is on a timer, so it's going to close after a few seconds, and you basically have to make your way over there pretty quickly. So the best thing to do is to throw that bombie over there, have it explode, and then you can go over and enter the door. Eep, if you want the key, come up here. But it's impossible, of course. And he is just rubbing it in our faces. But what he wants us to do is essentially a new type of jumping and platform we've not done yet. What we want to do is essentially double jump, and the only way you can do that is to grab one flying moo and then grab another one quickly in the air while it's still in the air, and you can get up here to high places. Oh, no, you're here? Then I'm getting out of here. Ouch. I love how Klonoa just watches him as he falls down to the abyss. That's going to give us another key. So yeah, they're just loving giving you keys in this section. Actually, I think this is the only time, I think Vision 3-2 is the last time you have to collect keys, if I remember correctly. I just love the idea of kind of slipping that in there, and just kind of, saying, hey, you have to do a little bit of work to find these keys before you can enter these doors. Something about that, I just like it. I don't know. Like, the game is already easy enough. I think giving it a little bit more of a challenge like that is perfect for a game this, like this, where it's pretty straightforward otherwise. So, just have that little extra, puzzle and that extra strategy in the game where you have to really, because it really incentivizes you to, look around for stuff. So very cool. We have to hit these switches in a certain order. So we wanted to hit left, right, and then middle in that order. And that's going to activate that big wheel we saw outside, which is going to trigger the activation, finally, of that giant wooden platform. I kept calling it a giant wooden mallet, but it's really not. It's just a giant swinging wooden platform that basically goes up and down and whatever. You get the idea. But that's kind of cool. I love how this whole thing is like connected, like this building. Like you have to essentially go to... That's essentially like the control room, which is kind of cool, even though they're just switches. And then, it has its own little control room, and then that activates certain parts of the lower sections. I just love that. I don't know. This is one of my favorite looking levels, and just overall, this one is one of the more fun levels to play. And not that, the rest aren't, but this is just so cool how this one is just very much... It just feels like it's all put together in a certain way where it's all... one piece activates the next piece and so on and so forth. We'll see something more like that later on, but this one I think is just a really cool, really awesomely laid out. And I didn't mean to fall down there or use the word awesomely. Alright, we're going to make this jump this time. We're going to hit our gems here. Grab our prisoner that's just hanging out right here in a very dangerous location. And we have, yet again, more interesting platforming to do. So we have, now that this whole section is active and is, moving again, we have to essentially balance ourselves where we're kind of on that little spinning wheel. Not really a challenge at all, but just kind of, keep that in mind. And then we have our final prisoner, who's just located right here, just above this spinning log. That's, again, very dangerous to be above. But I'm sure they didn't really get to pick their, captive location since, they were taken captive. So, but anyways, we want to go ahead and collect the final gems up here. We have a nice little spiral mountainish looking area here. I really like this. I love how we get to see the, the sky in the backdrop there. We get to scale this gigantic tree. And also, kind of run around this, what looks like spiral mountain type trail. So kind of cool. Again, the level designs in this game are just gorgeous, even for the PlayStation 1 version. Like, this is the original version. And I know they were revamped on the Wii and then on the Fantasy Reverie series, but still, you gotta appreciate the original. Up, 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 and away we go. Come on, confess already! I'm gonna have to hurt you if you don't fess up. I'll say nothing. Aye! Alright, so is that how it's going to be? Well, you're really gonna get it now. Stop, Joka! What do you mean, stop? You nasty little pest. I'll take care of all you at once. Hurt them. Gag bomb. Ta-ta and farewell. Watch out for attacks from above. So this is Gag Bomb. He is a giant plant, evil plant type creature that has been summoned by Joka. So what we want to do is utilize these springs that we have been utilizing in the previous levels. And you want to grab a hold of these moves, and this time around we are shooting the enemies downward in order to defeat the boss. So what we want to do is launch a move inside of his giant hardened shell there, hitting him in the middle, and that will actually damage him. You want to do this, I believe, 5 or 6 times. He's eventually going to send out these giant thorny balls that are going to roll towards you, causing pain. However, in order to avoid them, again, utilize the springs and also the moves to get you a little extra height in your jumps. He's going to go into this next phase where he's going to have his shadow above you, and it's going to land on you once you have slowed down or stopped at a certain point. That's where he's going to land, so keep that in mind. You can kind of control where he lands in order to aim and time your jumps. I'm doing a horrible job here showcasing it, but you get the idea. Just keep a hold of a move at all times because you never know how high you might need to jump or where he's going to land. And I don't know why, I feel like I've gotten him right in the middle, smack dab like that, and that worked, and for some reason it's not this time. Maybe that was the Wii version. But we want to get him far enough away from those springs where you can actually jump on him and without taking damage like I have been. And for some reason I'm not doing a good job of proving that. But let me see. Okay, so he's going to land right there. I think I can still do this. He's got to be close enough to where you can get over him in the center of him and then launch the move. But anyways, this is his next phase where he is going to go absolutely ballistic. He is going to turn pink and he's going to run at you with speed like you've never seen before. You want to make sure you jump sooner than you normally do on the spring, and then you can launch the move just in the middle of him like you did before, taking him out the exact same way. He only has one more hit left, so this is his final phase. He's now going to throw in an even bigger thorny giant ball at you. You want to make sure you have a move a hold of before you jump on the spring, because that's the only way to get above that fucking thing. Alright, so anyways, we want to go ahead and launch this, and he is done. Granny is right there, scared as ever. Granny, are you alright? What a day. Well, saved am I, many thanks. Oh no, don't mention it. By the way, Granny, Grandpa asked about the moon pendant. Yes, I know, say no more. Dark Spirit returns. Moon pendant. Evil Ephes. Yeah, I got the name right that time. In the dream that creates this world, it is all according to legend. Legend? The dream? Legend says, Moon pendant, lead to Moon Kingdom. Place offering on Temple of the Sun's pedestals, then path opens. Temple of the Sun? I've heard of it. There's a floating temple in the sky. A temple in the sky? How do we get there? Where is Moon Pendant? Grandpa has it at home. Evil doers looking for it. Hide it very well. I see, I see. What? Oh, that story was very, very interesting. You, Joka. You've been spying on us? That's not fair. Why, this is all part of my plan. So the pendant is at home, right? Then I'll be on my merry way. Thank you, Granny, for the valuable information. So long, farewell. Wait! Klonoa! Grandpa's in danger. We have to hurry. Quick. Wind ruins. Shortcut to home. This way. Gotcha. Thanks. A shortcut path full of danger. Watch out. Okay. Thanks for the information. Alright, so we have added even more to the song, our wonderful song here in Between Visions. But that is actually going to do it for this episode, because we have to go and save Grandpa, since it sounds like Joka is going after the moon pendant, and unfortunately Grandpa is the one that holds the moon pendant, but we're going to save that for next time. So next time on Let's Play Klonoa, we go after the moon pendant and save Grandpa. See you then.